we go. PvpDavid up against Filbeg. Filbeg leading that Shadow Malamar, and he's into a Blastoise.
This is a decent matchup for the Malamar, but Blastoise definitely has a lot of play here. Hydro Cannon will chunk along with the rollout damage there, but Malamar also has a lot of fast attack pressure with the Psywave.
Foul play coming in just before that Blastoise reaches the Hydro Cannons. The Psywaves are already shredding. This is a massive amount of damage into the Blastoise. Will Filbeg preserve his Malamar, or will he let this Hydro Cannon land?
And it looks like he does want to keep the Malamar around. Maybe necessary for a potential Diggersby in the back, as he does have his own Tinkaton, and we do see the Diggersby on the side of PvpDavid going for the Foul Blade just before the Hydro Cannon. Excellent timing from Filbeg here.
Now David has a Hydro Cannon. He won't want it to get caught, but Filbeg doesn't really have anything that he can comfortably catch onto, so David's going to throw straight away Hydro Cannon. Filbeg shields, the 2-shield Malamar in the lead. This has been so strong for Filbeg in the past. Can it work again in this first game of the Grand Final?
And staying in here means you get the full Psywave down. This is actually really dangerous for PvpDavid, because this Malamar might be able to get to 2 superpower here, and that, going straight for the Bulldoze actually to chip this Malamar immediately, perhaps hoping for a debuff so it won't be able to get to 2 superpower.
Yeah, David does not want 2 superpowers to land on the Malamar. Filbeg might throw one and bank the other. He actually has it now. Do you throw both here, or do you preserve one of them?
I think that you might just want to get rid of them. Make sure that the third is not aligned to this Tinkaton. Going for another superpower. Filbeg has the alignment. Do you preserve this Tinkaton as PvpDavid? You probably know that there's got to be third in the back, and he lets it go.
David lets it go, and he's going to come aggressively in with the Diggersby with a shield advantage. If this with shield advantage...
He's predicting that he would swap, but look at that! Sucker punching down the Tinkaton! Filbeg is in an excellent spot! That play was bellissimo!
Tinkaton gets the full farm down. David with a slight shake of his head. Now the first Trailblaze lands. David, it's going to be an uphill battle to try and take out this Furret. One Scorching Sands isn't going to be enough, and the Furret is boosted. It is coming through hard and fast.
There's still a shield on PvpDavid's side, so it's not exactly over just yet, but Furret needs to be supporting the Tinkaton here to put it in range for a charge attack. No debuff there. That means that this Swift is single buffed after the Trailblaze previously thrown by this Furret into the Diggersby.
And look at this Swift from Furret. We didn't say that Furret was the star of the show in his team, but it might be the star show in this game. Scorching Sand is reached. That will be enough to take out the Furret, but it had put in so much work that Diggersby is now in range of a Tinkaton play rough.
Furret not on Tinkaton means that it will have so much play, and that Tinkaton earlier not getting to a charge attack is really going to be decisive here, as this Scorching Sands is going to come through. No, PvpDavid conceding the battle. He knows the Scorching Sands will be super effective, but it's not going to be enough. This player, though, it definitely will be enough.
And here we go. The first game to the side of Filbeg. That is the momentum he wanted. David had a chance. He had an opportunity, but he didn't come in with the Diggersby quite aggressive enough. The farm down on that Tinkaton was instrumental in that game.
And Filbeg keeping his win streak going. 16-0 in matchups currently. PvpDavid needs to break that streak if he wants to have a chance at his second gold medal this season. But you need to get Tinkaton on that Furret, or it just runs through your team.
The momentum is building. The hype is building, and Filbeg knows that he is so close. 2 more wins, and he will have his hands on that crown.
And he has all the support from the Italians in the crowd here. David has his dad watching at home. He has his friends watching, some of them in the crowd, some of them at home. And his teammates see if their advice can help him against Filbeg. This is going to be really tough for David to come back from.
That Shadow Malamar, what can David do? It puts on so much pressure. Filbeg does not mind at all what he leads Shadow Malamar into, because we know from the winners finals that he wins charge attack priority in the mirror, and even against a Shadow Jumpluff or a Tinkaton, he can always superpower and then dip out.
And David notices it as well. That's why I think he's very reluctant to leading Malamar, because in the mirror it will be an awful matchup. I think if you want to stop that Malamar from going rampant, you need to lead either the Jumpluff or the Tinkaton.
Yes, even if you throw an attack into that Shadow Jump Up, it will be able to tank it. And once you get the Malamar down, maybe David has an opportunity in the back. The question for David is, what do you do? Because if you lead Malamar into Malamar, you are in such a difficult position because you are forced to have to catch to be able to take it down. Let's see what these players predict. They are locked in for Game 2 of these Grand Finals.
We have the Shadow Malamar into the Malamar, and even though this is a mirror, this looks very neutral, this is great for Filbeg because he knows from the winner's final that he wins charge attack priority in this match.
An absolutely massive lead for Filbeg. The most that David can hope for is maybe to try and catch on something else, or he plays out the scenario letting his Malamar go down, and he would have to work out how to take it down later.
This is looking so good for Filbeg because not only does he dominate this matchup, he also decides who gets switch advantage here, and because he has third in the back, the Tinkaton in the back from PvpDavid will never see this third likely.
Yes, very little chance, but we do get that first catch. It is the catch of the foul play. This is the type of play that David needs to pull out if he wants to claim this match back.
This is only resisted. Looks like Filbeg is farming up some more energy and perhaps looking then to swap out or just get rid of the energy here. Going into the Swampert after banking another foul play and superpower. Player is going to do a good amount of damage, but Swampert is exactly where it wants to be.
David needs to remember the energy on that Malamar. He also has an attack on his own Malamar. Swampert coming in. One Hydro Cannon will put a ton of pressure onto this Tinkaton. So David's going for the Bulldoze first, trying to get a little bit of chip. And Filbeg knows, actually, I'm going to shield this up because I want more value from my Swampert in this
I
game.
like this play from David because Filbeg was probably counting up until a player off, and David wanted to get the damage in before that. And now you get some more Fairywind damage, especially after that defense drop from the Bulldoze into the Swampert. That makes it easier to get the farm down. Otherwise, Swampert might get to 2 Hydro Cannon on this Malamar.
The difficulty here.
Whoa!
There we go! This is exactly what we're talking about. Show the Malamar, and now I'm gone. Blastoise taking a Hydro Cannon instead of a Sludge.
Peekaboo catching the Hydro Cannon on Blastoise, but it baits out the Ferret. Ferret is in a great position here, especially because both Pokemon started off on even energy. But looks like Filbeg is not going for the Trailblaze before the first Hydro Cannon.
So Hydro Cannon coming through. This will do a massive chunk to the Ferret. It won't threaten a knockout. You need one more attack. Whereas Trailblaze from the Ferret will put the Blastoise in a really difficult position.
Wow, charge attack priority tie. Ferret wins it. This super effective Trailblaze will knock out the Blastoise and also boost the attack with the Ferret, making it even more of a menace. But you have the energy on the Malamar. Not throwing it just yet. This is a boosted Swift. It's going to chunk into the Malamar. And do keep in mind that Filbeg still stores an attack on his own Malamar.
So David is shielding up this first attack, and I assume that that's because he doesn't want to put his Malamar in a range where the Sucker Punches could threaten a knockout. Remember that the Ferret is boosted after that first Trailblaze.
It is boosted, and that's why it did so much damage. Going for the shield here, but David has another charge attack. It wins charge attack priority tie into the Ferret. Looks like Filbeg may have miscalculated that there. He does have the superpower loaded though for the opposing Malamar.
I think Filbeg is still in a comfortable position here because he has that charge attack already ready, and he is able to pivot into his Swampert as and when he wants. This superpower will do a huge amount of damage. It probably will take the knockout. Let's see.
It's coming in, superpower landing, knocking out the Malamar. Filbeg is still unbeaten.
17 games to 0. One more needed for the Italian. Filbeg has everything under control. Can he seal this final game to win the Bologna Special Championship?
We may be witnessing history here, going unbeaten through an entire European Championship. I didn't think I would live the day that would happen.
David needs to adjust. Filbeg does not need to change his team. He is forcing David to make the alternative option. And so David needs to think, this Shadow Malamar, it is running through my team right now. What can I do? But the problem is every single time David thinks, Filbeg could change his team right now, and maybe I'll catch him off. And that makes things really, really difficult.
And do notice that Filbeg keeps going soft ABA weak to the Tinkaton from PvpDavid. He's just making sure that the Ferret avoids a potential Tinkaton, because if he would lead into Tinkaton, he could superpower then swap out potentially or play it out so that the Ferret would only deal with Tinkaton when it's severely weakened. Ferret is being so good here.
One player has locked in. This could be The final game of this weekend. If Filbeg can take victory, he takes it all. The players are ready. The game is starting. Tinkaton into Tinkaton.
And again, this is a mirror, but we know from the winners final, the Tinkaton from Filbeg will win the charge attack priority tie once again, making it favorable for Filbeg. However, this might also come down to the debuffs from this Bulldoze. It has a 50% chance to drop the defense, and then the charge attacks will do more damage.
I generally think the Bulldoze debuffs are slightly less important than the charge attack priority, so Filbeg really does have an advantage here. David needs everything to go in his favor, because even looking at that backline, the Furret and the Shadow Malamar look like they will have a ton of play into Blastoise and Lapras.
And it is a little bit going in his way, as he got not only the catch, but also the debuff on his Tinkaton. Blastoise taking the Bulldoze, doing little damage, but he does draw out the Furret now.
And let's see that Blastoise does get the defense drop already, which means even before a Trailblaze boost, this damage will do a huge amount. If this Trailblaze lands, it does threaten a knockout here.
Let's see if it does. Trailblaze going through, and it does knock out, actually. Filbeg is in a great position there, even though Furret will now be aligned to the Tinkaton, and PvpDavid Lapras avoids the Furret. It doesn't really matter, because you still will take so much damage from the Tinkaton.
The players at home, the players in the crowd, they think they can see the writing on the wall. David trying his absolute best to take out this Furret. He wants his Lapras to be free. He doesn't know that there is a Shadow Malamar in the back. The best he can do is continue to keep fighting.
Tinkaton needs to race to these charge attacks to knock out this Furret. It's been too much trouble. This Bulldoze is not the strongest charge attack. Can it get rid of this Furret before it gets to another Swift? Because that would be disastrous for PvpDavid. And it does hang on. In goes the Malamar. In goes the Lapras. Filbeg has all the alignment that he needs.
Filbeg gets the Shadow Malamar. It has been the Shadow Malamar show. So far this weekend, David has 2 shields. Is there anything he can do? He lets the first foul play go. He still has 2 shields available. What pressure can he put back onto this Shadow Malamar?
Filbeg is going demon mode in this grand finals as he's supported by the crowd. Sparkling area coming through, but the Psywave are triple resisted. They don't deal any damage here, so Filbeg has the possibility to just build up energy here. And again, a charge stack priority tie on this foul play against the Sparkling area.
The first shield goes up on David's side. Lapras is in the red. David is holding on. He still has that Tinkaton. Maybe a catch can help him out here. Everything is up against the wall. Filbeg's in such a commanding position.
He is him as he shields up the Malamar. I think the only play PvpDavid may have is a potential catch opportunity, but it's looking really difficult at this point. This last Protect Shield goes up. Can this Malamar, or sorry, can the Tinkaton put in any work here? The swap comes in, but the Tinkaton is way too healthy on the side of Filbeg.
Did Filbeg bank an attack on that Malamar? Can David's Lapras farm down the Tinkaton and potentially reach an attack? It's going to be a real mission. Filbeg in such a strong position.
Filbeg has a Tinkaton. He has a shield going for the resisted Ice Beam. It is looking like PvpDavid knows the writing is on the wall. He is conceding in this match. Filbeg, the Italian trainer. We hear the Italians singing in the crowd. He is going 18-0 in the Bologna Special Championship. Andiamo!
And there it lands!
Filbeg knocks out the Lapras and he wins!
In 2024, Filbeg competed here and just missed out on top 8. He has waited a whole year for his return to the Play Pokemon circuit. And look what he's done with the opportunity. The players he watched on the stage and the screen now rise for him. And for the first time in Pokémon GO history, the Italian event is won by one of their own! Filbeg wins the Bologna Special Championship!